Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts. Here we are. Wayne, it's been a while since we spoke. First of all, modelling a new shirt and darts. How's it all going?
Yeah, I like it. It's very comfortable. Hawaii501.com. You can purchase the shirt and the darts. Yeah, things are going well. Things are going well. It's nice to be back doing exhibitions in kind of big time exhibitions with Bobby, Luke Humphries and James Wade, who yesterday he won his 5th event of the year. Playing some good darts, is James.
Since the match play, what have you been up to? Have you enjoying some downtime?
Downtime, but still working hard with the School of Darts and doing exhibitions. But it's nice to get back doing some big ones, I've got to say. Just feels that little bit more important. And tonight I'm going to play Luke over best of 7, going to play James over best of 7. Good luck to them, because they're probably not going to need it. But they're going to need it. They're going to need it.
If you win both of them, are we going to have a Wayne Mardle having a comeback statement anywhere?
No, you've got to be silly to do that.
Anyway, last time we spoke was the match play. Since then, Rob has gone on and won the second biggest major in darts. Deserved overall, do you think? And did he need that?
Well, it's an odd one for me, because I've been quite close to Rob over the last kind of 5-6 months, and I just kept saying to him, you can't carry on playing well and getting beat. What was odd about the match play was that I didn't think he played very well. He got away with it, let's be fair, against Daryl Gurney. He got away with that. It's one of those things. And in the final, I thought he played okay without pulling up trees. Michael Smith just had an absolute stinker of a start. That was it. But I still feel the same with Rob. I still think he's playing some of the best darts of anyone out there, but doesn't win enough. And I want to know why. We've got to get to grips with that. I don't know why he's not winning as much.
Off the match play as well, Michael Smith lost another final. Now, we all know he's got ability in abundance, but he's now lost the World Final, the Premier League Final and the match play final. Is there starting to see scar tissue there, perhaps mentally now?
I don't know. I would like to sit down and talk to him, to be fair, because I've been in Michael Smith's corner for years. I think he's the one that can break down kind of standard barriers. I'm not saying that he's the best player I've ever seen. I'm not. But Michael van Gerwen is the benchmark. I think Michael Smith is the one to get there. He, Rob Cross, we don't really know what Daryl Gurney can do. Gary Anderson, he's taken a back seat, so I'm going to assume that Gary's not going to get any better. I can only assume that. If he carries on the way he is, he'll probably pack up in a couple of years. He just seems really content, Gary, at the moment. So you've got to look outside of him. There are a lot of them that are very, very good, but Michael Smith, to me, is still the talent that will win. He will win. Is there scar tissue? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Like I said, I'd like to talk to him, just to see what's going on. He's so instinctive as a player that I hope not. I really hope not, because I'd hate to see him become a robot. Because if he does start to slow down and think about it too much, he won't be as good. But Michael Smith, for me, is still one of those that every time I look at a tournament, he's a possible winner of it. He's a darting genius. He's brilliant.
From there, the World Series went down under, and Michael van Gerwen back in the winner's circle. That was much needed for him and for everyone else, just to send out a message, I'm still the governor here, because people were starting to go, he ain't anymore.
Well, yes, they were starting to say, do you know what, he's becoming easier to beat, and that's the problem. It's not the winning, it's the way he was playing. The way he was playing was poor. It really was poor, and he put in some good performances, and since then he's been putting in 100 plus and on a regular basis. So he's put that to bed. The thing is with Michael van Gerwen, if he's not winning roughly 50% of every tournament, if he's not winning 50% of the events he's going in, then it's seen as a decline or not as good as he was. There's so many good players around. There really are. But Michael van Gerwen, like I mentioned a minute ago, is still the man to beat. He's the benchmark. He's the one. He's the best in the world. It's for the others to get there, not for Michael to come back to them. Was it a big trip down under and New Zealand for him? Yes, it was. He needed to win, and he won. So hopefully now he can relax and again kick on. All I ever want to see is all the top players play well, because then we're all treated to absolutely darting delights then, aren't we?
Is Michael judged more harshly than anyone else. I say this off the back of the World Series one in Germany, where he won his first round game. I think he averaged 93.5, and everyone said he was poor. Yet Max Hopp won with a 94, and everyone said he was amazing. So I know he's raised the bar, but is he judged more harshly than everyone else as well?
Yes, he is, and rightly so. Michael van Gerwen shouldn't be playing... No, shouldn't, that's wrong. Michael van Gerwen hasn't played to a 95 average since 2012. His tournament average this year has just been below 100, which is... It's the best, by the way, of anyone out there. It's the best. But it's not what he does. He normally averages 102, 103 per year on a 3 dart average. Well, it's dropped. It's dropped. So people are right to say he's not playing as well as he was. That's absolutely factually correct. But the trouble is with him, he's putting in some performances that I don't think I would put in. I would. But you get my drift. He's not playing to the consistent brilliance that we know he can do, even when he's off. When he's off now, he's more than beatable, and that's what he's got to stop. We go on so much about B games. James Wade, who we're with tonight, James Wade's B game. It's that below his A game. That's why he wins. That's why he's won 5 times this year. Michael van Gerwen's B game is deserting him. That's the problem.
A lot of talk on social media as well about the general standard this year seems to be lower, like you said, across the board. Any reason for that, do you think, that we haven't seen so many glittering performances on TV and things like that?
I think that the money, I think the pressure, I think the sponsorships, I think that the TV events, the qualification for the TV events. I've been in that situation years ago. I hated it, which is one of the reasons why I got out, and the travelling, and I wasn't good enough, and my grip was rubbish. Apart from all those reasons, I really do think now that a dart player has never been under more pressure. And I'm on about from the top to the bottom. Van Gerwen's under pressure. We know that. We've seen it. We've seen 5-time world champions, Barney, wanting to retire because he doesn't think he's good enough. We are seeing a lot of this. We're seeing a lot of people that are feeling and thinking they're under pressure before a dart's thrown. That's because of the money. That's because of everything I've just mentioned. You get sponsors turning up. It's like, right, I've got to put on a show. I've got to win. I've got to show that they're right in trying to develop me, trying to get me to the best I can be, putting all their confidence in me, putting all this money behind me. I really do believe that playing darts in today's society is difficult. I'm not going to say just relax and take a back seat and act a clown. What I'm saying is that try to be in it for the long haul. If you're on it for 5 years, you can earn a lot of money, yeah, but you still have to find a job after that. Trying to be it for the long haul. Do a Phil Taylor. Do a Phil. When I say look after yourself, I'm on about don't do every tournament. That's just ridiculous.
As well, a lot of talk about the European Tour dartboards at the moment. Now, we're not going to board bash here, but in general, since Copenhagen, the stats indicate that the amount of bounce outs on the Euro Tour is astronomical. Players are asking the questions. Michael Smith said exactly the same. What is it? Is there a storage issue? Do we think that the Euro Tour boards are being stored different, or something seems to be different from the Euro Tour to over here? Any ideas and any inklings as an ex-player?
Well, you may not know this, you may not, but I've contacted nearly every single board manufacturer. I'm doing my own testing, for me, for no one else. I will eventually release what I find. Every board will be stored in, this is only for my research, every board will be stored between 18 and 20 degrees in a room. That's absolutely guaranteed. I'll play no more than 3 hours on a segment, and then that's it. Then my findings will come from that. I use the same point, which is just a standard point. It's slightly shorter, so that can even drill the dart in a bit more. So, okay, whatever you think about that. What I'm noticing, and you said bounce outs, I think there's more fallouts. I think they're fallouts. I really do. There are bounce outs. Of course there are. There's wires on a board. I have seen dead spots. I've seen soft spots. I've seen hard spots. Dead spots are way more compacted than hard spots. Way more. They're like this floor. You're not going to get a dart to stick in that floor if it was up against the wall. The way that the boards are made, I'm not going to say anything about unicorns. I haven't tested the HD2 board yet, but I'll give you my findings when it happens. What I will say is, and this is where I was reading the report that was done for unicorn boards. I was reading it and I'm thinking, I'm not really happy with what I'm reading here. I didn't think it was right. Then I read it again just to make sure I digested the whole lot. And they come up with something that I think is right. That is, now the players are grouping the darts so much better than in previous years. Now, this is not just because of the actual standard of the players. This is to do with the thickness of the darts. This is to do with the length of the points. This is to do with all of that, where you can now effectively get 2 points trying to go in the same hole. They're trying to divide the same bit of sisal, which is the plant that the board's made of. Unicorn come up with that, and do you know what? I think they're right in that instance. But I'm not saying every single one of the fallouts or bounce outs, that's the reason. I'm saying it could be a reason. So we have to look into it further. But is it where the boards are stored? Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. But when I find out, I'll let you know.
As well, the calendar rammed from now to the end of the year. Got some great tournaments coming up. The Grand Prix in Dublin, first of all. First one back. Does this set the benchmark for the players for the rest of the year if they can have a good run in Dublin?
I think that I'm not. This is not about Sky and anyone else. I think the events that are coming up on Sky Sports really are the important ones. It is the Grand Prix, it is the Grand Slam, then it's the Worlds. Yes, the others are important. I'm not playing them down, but those are the ones. When it comes to the Worlds, you want to do well in them week-long events. They're the ones that you think, right, I'm beating the best players here. I'm beating them over a long format, day in, day out. It's seeded events. That's where you want to make your name, make your living, make your money. The Grand Prix for me is a horrendous event. It's horrendous, not because I dislike it. I play golf every day. Come on, I love it. I know some of the players panic. I know that they don't have a method. They don't have a routine. You miss on one double, you've got to have it in your mind, right? If I miss above it, I stay there. If I miss below it, I switch. If you haven't got that routine, then you're going to fail. You are going to fail. It's like when I've watched you play. You're very mediocre. But when you want 40 and you hit a 20, you know to go for double 10. Your mind has already told you, so there's a certainty about what you're doing. If you throw a dart at double top and it goes below, but you're thinking in the Grand Prix, I might be able to go above, then you start looking at picking a corner when there's 19 other open doubles or 20, including the bullseye. That's not having a plan. These players have got to have a plan. I think Michael van Gerwen over the years has been great. Robert Thornton, not because he won it, because he's tops orientated. There's a lot of others that I kind of fancy, Chizzy being one of them. When he gets 36 going. When he doesn't get 36 going, I think he struggles. These players have got to have a plan. Rob Cross, I think he should start 32. He'll probably start 36. 32 you can be aggressive at and then do a John Part. So you go 32, 57, 57. Or 19 then go up for the 20, to leave 4:30. You don't have to switch again. You don't have to switch. The switching... The double start, double finish causes switching. Sorry to get technical and boring, I apologise. But it causes switching. If you start on the 32, hit it, then 19 and straight up for the 60s, and hit a 60 or a 20, you don't have to switch again until you go for a finish. These are the things the players should be thinking about. I just never executed it very well.
You touched on the slam there. There's plenty of talking points around the slam at the moment. Before we get on to the actual one itself, do we think Barry and the PDC haven't made many mistakes? But making
they have. But come on.
Making the slam a ranked major, do you think that was a mistake looking at it now about all the confusion around it on both sides of the divide?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a thing about this. When they went to Sky Sports and said, right, we want an event for BDO and PDC to go head to head. Well, why was it never 16 players versus 16 players? So in the very first year, it went wrong. Whether it's 2007 or 8, I can't quite remember. It went wrong. And it kept being, in my opinion, unfair towards the BDO. Kept being unfair. 8 and 24, 8 and 24, 8 and 24. Well, they're up against it all the time. Are the PDC players, they're getting their own way here? Well, they would do. There's more of them. There's more of them, and they're professionals. The BDO, there are some, don't tell me there's not world-class pros in there, because there are. There are. Glenn Durrant being the latest one that's making the headlines. I believe that making it a ranked event was a mistake. It was just another mistake to do with the Grand Slam. I still want to see 16 v 16. That's what I want to see. When they did that, it was kind of closing up. It was shutting up shop, and I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to the BDO players. And there's a lot said about the qualification, how they get picked and how they get just the selection process. I like the event. I'm not a lover of the way that the players on the BDO side and the PDC are selected. I'm not a lover of it.
Talking of selection, Barry has openly admitted that he wants all 3 current BDO world champions to have wildcards. 1, do you agree with that? And 2, do you think it will happen?
I do agree with it. I agree with it fully. I would want, if I was the BDO, I would want Glenn Durrant in it. If I was the BDO, I would want Leighton Bennett in it. And again, I would want Maruki in it. Makuru, sorry, yeah. I would want them in it because they are not just fantastic players. They are different class. They are fantastic. They would make me watch. They would, apparently Leighton Bennett would make Phil Taylor watch darts. So look, this is what it means. Barry's all about selling. Barry's all about the product. Sell the product, sell the product. That would sell the products. The BDO have to understand that. Do you know what? Putting them in would sell the BDO as well. That would promote the BDO in such a great light. It really would. And between Des Jacqueline and Barry Earn, I think they just need to just a bit of common sense and put them in.
Talking of Phil, he dropped a throwaway comment that got the darting world talking. Do you think it will happen, or do you just think he got a bit excited about his new darts and got a bit carried away?
Phil Taylor making a comeback. I would like to see it. I would like to see it. Will it happen? No. No, it won't. He does get excited about equipment. I'll tell you what, ask him next week. See how he feels then.
As well, the world's on the horizon. As a player, do you have one eye on the world even now? I know that they all say, no, it's every tournament at a time, but is it hard not to have one eye on the Palace already?
There's only one reason why you would have one eye on the World Championships, and that's your ranking, your seeding, whatever you want to call it. That's the only reason I ever looked out for it. When it got to the Grand Prix, bearing in mind it was different in my day. When I played in like 1838, whatever it was, we had the Grand Prix, then the Grand Slam, then the Worlds. There might have been a European added somewhere. I was only ever interested in my ranking. I never wanted to meet Phil Taylor. Being defeatist, yeah, I couldn't care less what you say. I didn't want to play him. He was better than me. He used to beat me all the time. So I looked out for that. That was the only reason I would look at the Worlds. Until the last event was over, then I looked at the Worlds, because I know a lot of players say, no, it's one event at a time, but that is the truth. That is the truth. When you're worried about your ranking, because bearing in mind, you could have to play Gary Anderson in, say, the quarter-final, Michael van Gerwen in the semis, and then who's to say in the final, if your ranking is the other side of the coin come December. If you win one more game at the Grand Prix, or maybe lose a game at the Grand Prix or the Grand Slam, then it could all be different. So that's why they're looking out for it. But you don't plan for the Worlds. No one plans for the Worlds. You can't. You can't. All you can do is get ready for every event in your own way and be ready for that. If you're ready for tournament A and then B, and the World Championships happens to be tournament C, and you've been ready for A and B, you'll be ready. You'll be ready.
2020 calendar as well, just released. 150 days of darts without the World Series events. Yeah. Right? They have to be added. Yeah. Next year, is darts going to follow in the way golf and tennis has, where we see the elite literally picking and choosing where they go and where they play, do you think? Because that's too much for anyone, isn't it?
They should have been doing this 10 years ago. I'm not because it's me and I've got foresight. I didn't do anything like what the players did back in the day. They were going Toronto, Chicago, Montreal, you name it. I wasn't interested. I'm not going there for 1-2 events. I just wasn't spending that kind of money or that time away. Nowadays, they're earning enough money where they don't have to chase it. They don't have to chase it. Gary Anderson blatantly said about 3 years ago, I'm not doing Europeans. I'm not going to fly it on a Friday, whatever it was, and come back on a Monday, have Tuesday at home, go to a Premier League on a Wednesday. I'm not doing it. I'll make him right. Michael van Gerwen now, he's got a family. He won't be doing them all. There's Daryl Gurney, Michael Smith, Rob Cross. They've all got families. They will not be able to ransom in this rankings blackmail that it's been since the year dot, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't think anyone really cares about the rankings. Michael van Gerwen wants to be world number one because he's been world number one for a long time. Apart from that, I don't think a lot of people care unless they're in the wrong spot, like I alluded to earlier.
Just something you said on there, obviously, about being held to ransom and not going here. 10 grand for a Pro Tour win that James picked up next door is obviously very nice. But now to the top pros, 10 grand is a drop in the ocean, isn't it? And a lot's been labelled that they'll still go and play exhibitions in that time. Have they got that right to miss a ranked event like a Pro Tour but still do an exhibition, or is that slightly wrong, do you think?
No, I think they should be able to do what they like. There's one thing about darts that I don't think... I might be giving the viewers a disservice here, and if I am, I apologise. I don't think some viewers realise the pressure that these players are under constantly. And I've mentioned that with the sponsors, the money that they're playing for, the time away from home. This all it plays with your head. If you can go away from home for 2 days, have a bit of fun, go home and you've earned, I'm just going to put a figure out there, 15, 20 grand. You go home in a better frame of mind than being under pressure at an event earning the same amount of money. These guys need to relax. They go away on their holidays, but they still don't want to compete day in, day out. Competing is draining. It's absolutely draining. They're under so much scrutiny now. Look at the scrutiny the boards are getting. They're not even playing. This is how mad the sport is right now. It's huge, and they've got to organise themselves well. And this is where the management now have got to realise that long haul. It's about the long haul. Don't just milk the player for 2-3 years, earn them $1 million and then walk away because they're spent. Why not earn $2 million over 10 years?
Last one from us, because we've spoken about it in depth beforehand. Gerwen Price's fine was reduced.
Was it?
Do you think it was enough or not, in your opinion? Because I know we've spoken about it at length, and judging by when we spoke to Cardiff, I don't think he's totally happy with it still. It was more what he didn't say than what he did. Where do you stand on now it's done, well-ish?
First off, I'm willing to just drop it, first off. Secondly, let's just carry on for a while. No, I still believe it was a big fine. The fee, the fine for what he did, and he wasn't on his own, let's be fair. I still think it was a lot. And if he had have not appealed, which is what the easiest thing is to do, then nothing would have been said and he'd have just accepted it. But he appealed. So now people know that you can appeal and get a fine halved, maybe even quashed completely. But bearing in mind, it takes money to appeal. That's what the players have got to remember. But I'm willing to drop it now because it's gone on for, what will it be? It'll be a year next month. It'll be a year next month or the month after. So, yeah, job done. He tried his best and he got 50% knocked off.
Just touching on something that you said there, I'm not going to go into the specifics, but is a year too long for a case to drag? Surely that needs to be looked at where it needs to be, the whole process needs to be done a lot quicker than that, doesn't it?
Yes, it should be done and dusted within weeks. That's what should happen. But I'm afraid that, and I'm not saying this is the fault of the Darts Regulation Authority, not the fault of the Professional Darts Players Association or the players themselves or the management. They need to get together and say, right, this needs to be sorted now. Whoever is stalling and making it a dragged out affair needs to be pulled to task and say, that's unacceptable. But at the moment, no one's doing that. No one's doing that. There's no ombudsman to say, DRA, you're out of order, PDPA, come here, I want a word with you, or player or management, totally unacceptable. Right, we're not having that. There's no darts ombudsman. I know Dan Dawson thought he was, which is just absolutely pathetic, by the way. Funny though, Dan, funny. But anyway, no, there's no one like that, so that'll just carry on, and it shouldn't be able to carry on. It is too long, yes.
Wayne, it's an absolute pleasure here talking to you in High Wycombe as always, mate, and we shall see you in Dublin for the Grand Prix.
Good chatting, my pal. He's my pal. I like him. Cheers, mate.